This is the plaintiff, Kwafiqua Adams. She says she lived in an illegal basement apartment in the defendant's house, and it was like living in a house of horrors. Besides getting charged for extra things, having no power for days on end, the main problem was the defendant is a peeping Tom. That's right. She caught him looking into her windows, and he kept entering her apartment without notice. She even had to call the cops on him because it was creeping her out. Bottom line, she got out of there lickety-split, and he owes her $2,400, double her security. This is the defendant, Abel. He says all the trouble with the plaintiff began when he confronted her about a friend who was also staying in the apartment. That friend stayed a few months, and little by little, the plaintiff became more and more hostile and aggressive towards him. When she told him she was moving, it was his happiest day. Owe her money for security? Ah! She owes him back rent, so it's a wash. He's accused of being a real looker.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff moved into an illegal basement apartment. Not only was it illegal, the plaintiff says the defendant was also a peeping Tom, but the defendant says the plaintiff was hostile because she had a guy living there who shouldn't have been there at all. It's the case of Peepers Creepers.
Kwafiqua?
Yes.
Adams, you are suing Abel. You've asked us just to refer to you by your middle name, Abel, for $2,400, double the security deposit of $1,200 that he refuses to return to you, correct?
Yes.
All right, tell me what happened.
Okay, when I first moved in the apartment, I found it on the internet, which he posted an ad on NewJersey.com for, to find apartments. Me and my son father is the one who went up there to view the apartment. It's a very nice neighborhood. And so we said, okay, I'll go with the apartment. After that, it was discrepancy after discrepancy. I asked him, where's the lease?
Had you signed one, or he never supplied you with one?
I signed one, but he never gave it back to me because he said he had to make copies for himself. Then he was like, oh, I'm going to get it. That's no problem. I got everything right. That's no problem. I got the lease. I said, okay, so why I don't have it yet? Then he comes in. One day I'm asleep in my apartment. I wake up. He's leaving out the apartment while so I'm like, am I dreaming? I just had on a shirt and my panties. So I runs and put the cover on. I chase after him. What are you doing? What are you doing in my apartment? I'm hostile, yes. I'm like, what are you doing in my apartment? He goes in there and shut the door. I called up my sister.
Because he lives where?
He lives right upstairs on the first, which would be really the first floor.
Okay.
So he goes upstairs. My sister, I called her, oh, come up here, da-da-da-da. I'm still like, ain't nothing else to be said. Why was you in my apartment? He ain't tell me at first when I asked him, but when she came and asked him, oh, I came to fix the tank at 6-something in the morning. I'm asleep. Usually he calls me. If he needs something to be done, he calls a day or two ahead. He never called. He never said nothing about the tank. He hasn't cleaned that tank in 6 months.
What kind of tank are we talking?
It's a fish tank.
Oh, a fish tank?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has a fish tank down there, which is his, which we said.
Wait a minute. He has a fish tank in the apartment?
Yeah. He said comes with the apartment. That's what he told me.
The fish tank comes with the apartment?
The fish tank comes with the apartment.
With fish?
With fish.
That you take care of?
Well,
somebody's got to be taking care of them.
Feed it because it was food already there. So I'll feed it sometimes if I don't forget.
So he said he was down there at 6 a.m. cleaning your fish tank?
He was coming to clean the fish tank.
At 6 a.m?
At 6:49 in the morning. That's when he walked up.
But when you opened your eyes, he ran.
He walking up out of there fast, and I'm chasing too. I'm going up them steps. So I'm like,
What are you saying? Is he right there?
Sean, what is you doing down here? I'm like, what you peeping at me? I'm just all over the place.
Because you thought he was peeping Tom.
I'm like, he telling me, when my sister asked him, he told her.
Come on up. Are you the sister?
Yes.
Come on up.
He told her he was only down there for a couple of seconds.
Tell me about the discussion you had with him.
He said, oh no, your sister, I think she's going crazy. I said, going crazy about what? Yeah, she's saying that she saw me coming out the house 6 o'clock this morning. I said, well, I believe her. So once that happened.
You decide to leave the apartment. When?
I decided in May. This was in May all still. I told him I wanted to leave. He told me, oh, you can't leave. You're going to be breaking the lease. So I said, okay, all right.
Do you have the lease?
No, I don't. After she left out, I discarded everything until I got this
He didn't give it to
paperwork.
me, and I have a message stating
I guess
that
you have no proof.
I
Okay.
asked him
So
for the lease.
you tell him, he tells you you're breaking the lease, and you say,
I don't have a lease.
okay, so you leave when?
I leave in July. I leave in July. But when I went to court, because after all this happened, I made a police report about him. Yeah, they gave me a report.
May I see the report? Are those your earrings?
Yeah.
All the way down here? Man, my hat's off to you. Let me see that. You put my hoops to shame. Now, this makes it sound like you had already decided you were leaving by the time he walks in.
Yes. Yes.
So why were you? What made you want to leave?
Because after I wasn't getting the lease, the heat was bad. I had 2 heaters down there.
Okay.
So it was like I was already fed up. I'm like, I don't have a lease anyway, so I could just move. That's when the problem started happening, where he started coming in.
Okay, according to this, you're filing a police report on July 23rd about something that happened in May, not in May. Okay, you end up leaving when?
I end up leaving August.
And did you owe rent at that point?
No, ma'am, and I have all my rent
When had you
receipts.
stopped paying rent?
I stopped paying August rent when they told
So
me.
you didn't pay August, and you stayed until August what?
31st.
Oh. And why didn't you pay August rent?
Because when I went to the court, they said stating that my apartment is illegal. I did not have to pay rent. And I have the papers stating
Show
that
me
my
the
apartment-
paperwork. What's going on here? You're renting out this place to her since when?
Since...
Why don't you just look at the lease?
Trying to be funny, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not trying. I am being funny. But you, however, are being incredibly slack-jawed by having a lease, having a dispute with a tenant, and throwing out the lease when you know the tenant's going to sue you for the security deposit because she's not walking away. She's nuts about the whole situation. Why would you throw out the lease? The truth of the matter is you couldn't find the lease, right? It's not that you threw it out because you thought it was over. It's that you can't find the lease.
As I stated before,
Right?
she did. I don't have it.
I think you just lost it because she agrees that she signed it, but I think you just can't find it. But in any event, either way, I don't have a lease here in front of me. Why are you keeping her security deposit?
So if an apartment is illegal, does the tenant have to pay rent?
No.
No. So you can be there, you can stay as long as you want, you don't have to pay a penny.
Yep, the occupant will have more rights than the owner.
Fair enough?
I say no because the contract is not valid. Because
it's illegal.
Exactly.
And you get the final word.
I think they do because they shouldn't live there in the first place if it's illegal.
So they have to pay, so it's the tenants at fault too, in a sense.
Well, that's what I think.
Okay, going inside the courtroom.
She didn't leave out in August. She stopped paying her rent in July. She didn't give anything in July. She didn't give anything in August. Although my cell phone shows all the texts that she sent back and forth. Shows every correspondence we had back and forth that she sent me on the texts.
Show me your phone.
Here.
You're keeping the security deposit on account of what?
On account that she hasn't paid rent for July, for August, and she moved out by September the 14th. And I also filed
She says this is an illegal apartment.
And I also filed paperwork.
Are you just going to ignore my question?
Huh?
You're just going to ignore my question? She says this is an illegal apartment. Is it an illegal apartment?
Yes, I found out, yes. It's not legal to rent it out.
All right, well, here's a problem. You're trying to keep $1,200 of hers for rent, and you're not allowed to collect rent. Let me give you an example. If you were to buy cocaine from her, and
it's not a good example.
It's an example.
It's not a good one.
If you were, no, it's actually an excellent one because it's outrageous. So if you were to buy cocaine from her and the cocaine was not good cocaine, you couldn't come to court and say, Judge, it's bad quality cocaine. She breached a contract with me. Courts aren't going to allow you to use the long arm of the law to enforce something, okay, that we consider against public policy. It's the same with a landlord tenancy. If you don't have the right inspection, you don't have the right to rent the place, then you cannot say, I have $1,200 of her dollars, Judge, but you should let me keep it. You should allow me to keep it and not order me to return her money because I'm keeping it for rent. I'm not allowed to collect. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying.
So you got to pay her the money. You don't get to get double the amount because you don't even have a legal tenancy, and double the amount is for when you're operating within a tenancy. So I am going to order the defendant to pay you $1,200 verdict for the plaintiff. But before we do that, did you want to answer her allegations that you're a peeping Tom?
I don't think that deserves an answer.
Were you in her apartment?
No, I didn't go into her apartment at all at 6 in the morning.
Did you ever go
clean
to
the
her
fish
apartment
tank.
to fix the tank?
Of course.
Okay. When did you go to her apartment to fix the tank?
Every month. It's a fish tank. It's saltwater fish tank
Would
that
you
you have
give
to
her
change.
notice that you were coming?
She told me to come. She knew I was coming. She had no problem with me coming into the apartment.
So when did she all of a sudden have a problem? For the first time she has a problem when she wants her deposit back.
If you look at the Texas and the time frame in which it was done, she didn't say she was going to move until after I told her rent was late. If you look at the text, your car was broken, you ain't got the money, you didn't have the money to pay your rent. That was on the 9th, and I have the receipts. That was on the 9th. If you look at the text, I said, no problem. I know you had to get your car fixed. Take care. Then she texted me back, I'm leaving, is this, is that. All right, no problem.
Why do you suppose she wanted to leave?
She wanted to leave because if you look at the text in June, because I asked her for her rent money, her rent was late.
Yeah, but that's not why people don't leave an apartment because their landlord asked for late rent money. I mean, that's what.
Yeah, people do. People do.
So I got to say, it is a little suspicious that you don't report any of the things you're claiming until you're trying to get your security deposit back. Put your hand down. The bottom line is you can't keep it because it's an illegal apartment, and I'm ordering the defendant to pay the plaintiff back $1,200. Good luck, folks.
Well, let's hear from the defendant coming out of the courtroom. The plaintiff has recovered some of the money she sued for. What's your reaction to this?
I have no problem.
No. You understand the judge can't rule for you and enforce an illegal contract. The illegal contract being
like I said, illegal. I have no problem. Have a good day.
All right, so step on in here. What are you laughing about?
Because he's a liar. I was 22 at the time. He feel as though she's young. Mm-hmm. It's whatever. He's a peeping Tom, like I said, and I'll say it again.
Well, he put up a pretty vigorous defense against that in there.
Yeah, because he lied. So anybody could put their right hand up and say, I'll swear to tell the truth.
All perverts say they're not perverts.
All right. Okay, over to Harvey.
Well, I gotta say, being a peeping Tom is not only creepy, in many states, it's actually a crime, and a crime for which you could end up in jail.